Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Alliance, your home on Geek Ultimate Alliance Podcast Network for any and all things Star Wars. I'm your host, like always, Katie, and with me, like most of the time, like always, is Clay. Clay, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing pretty good. I apologize if anybody hears my daughter in the background. She has been very anxious. I'm not entirely sure what the right word is, but she has not been liking going to bed at the preferred time that we have is either 7 or 7:30. Uh but the moment she starts to recognize the nightly routine, she starts to freak out and she starts to scream and yell and kick and punch and all sorts of stuff. So we're trying to normalize it again to where it was, but like for a pocket of like a week and a half now, she's been kind of going a little crazy when she recognizes that it's almost bedtime. Um, so if you hear her in the background, I promise she is okay. Uh,
And
but she will scream like she is being murdered. So yeah.
if you happen to hear four dogs in the background, I'm babysitting. Um, my mom's two dogs. Well, two of her three dogs this week. So we both have stuff going on. But yeah, just a little bit of podcast paperwork for you guys. We have a survey out right now. It's been out for longer than it was supposed to be. We would love to get some responses back from you guys. We love hearing listener feedback, good or bad. It helps us improve the show, no matter where it is. So that link is going to be in the description box below for you guys. If you out of breath already, pregnancy, yay. Um, if you guys have emailed us previously, I emailed it out to you guys a couple weeks ago. So it would be great. We would love to see that feedback. It's gonna end probably next Monday, I would think,
Mhm.
to give everybody time to uh ask for a little more feedback. So that is your podcast paperwork side of things for today. So main topic for today, in case you haven't read the title, we're going to be doing some Bad Batch season 3 predictions, asking some questions about what we've seen so far in the trailers, and we did get reactions from people who have seen the first 8 episodes.
Mhm.
So, all good things that I have seen so far. I have not seen a single negative thing about the first 8 episodes.
That is true.
So,
I was kind of hesitant on reading a lot of these. Um, from what I remember, I mean, especially since somebody here at the GUA was able to watch the Bad Batch early. Um,
I did not get it this year, so we're going to be going through it. So, no
it's
worries
going to
there.
be first reactions legitimately for the both of us here. But I remember there was a little bit of mixed reviews for season 2. But for the most part, Bad Batch has not been a bad show. I
Yeah.
just think that a lot of people are expecting more things. And of course, when it came to the Clone Wars, there was a lot more lightsabers and Jedi and all of these things. And Bad Batch doesn't have it. I think that this show definitely does, unfortunately, suffer from the no lightsaber problem that we always talk about in Star Wars. But I do think people should not miss out on season 3 because I think there's going to be really big things here.
Yep, for sure. But before we get into Bad Batch season 3 predictions and talking about some of those reactions involved, do have a little bit of Disney Plus stuff to talk about. Last Friday was the last day on filming for Andor, so it is entering the post production period. Diego Luna said today is the last day of filming Andor. I could not be more thankful to the entire crew for this amazing experience and the years of hard work. More than 700 people have worked on this production, and it is impossible to say goodbye and thank you to everyone individually, which is why I write here. Thank you for the love and the wonderful experience.
I am really excited about this. I think everybody in the GUA is really excited about the show coming back. Um, I think, as far as my expectations go, this seems really quick. I don't know. Granted, I think they started as
They started
soon
before the strike.
they started before the strike, which was, I'm pretty sure, as soon as season 1 ended, was kind of when
Yeah.
we were hearing that they were ramping up, like, the start of production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and so I don't feel like this is super quick because I know when the strike ended, they were like, most people were like, oh, they have like 3 or 4 weeks of filming left. And most people thought they were going to tackle it over the holidays, and they ended up not. So I feel like this ended up being 5 to 6 weeks of production time. Um, so really not bad overall. For post strike pickup, I imagine we're gonna see a like another budget hike. Now, granted, Andor season 1 had COVID protocols, and now
Yeah,
I think most shows are still doing COVID protocols, but we could still see a bit of a budget hit because of that.
for sure.
A lot of the other cast members did post their goodbyes to Andor. I'm sad that we won't see it this fall or this winter. But we'll get it next spring. And it'll be great. I'm sure. It'll be great. The next bit of release news for Disney Plus is not really news because we all kind of figured this was happening, especially with some of the rumors that we had gotten. But Collider did an interview with Leslie Headland, um, and she confirmed that the Acolyte will have a summer 2024 release window. So that is where we can expect Acolyte to be. Now, no date. Obviously, Disney Plus doesn't like to give dates out until a month before the show premieres. We know this for Star Wars, at least.
Mhm.
We know this. Um, so I wouldn't imagine we're gonna see that though until July. I at least July or August.
I could see. Hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put my money down on a late summer 2024. Um, I think that with Bad Batch running all the way until May, um, they're gonna want a pretty good breather. Um, and to be completely honest, I think this is the 1 year that I haven't been like really hankering down on the Disney Plus schedule. So I have no idea what uh like when X-Men 97 is supposed to, or I think, is it 97? I think it's 97. X-Men 97. I
Um,
don't know when they
yeah,
are airing or anything
X.
else really big on Disney Plus right now.
So I believe the rumor right now for X Men '97 is late March. So it's gonna be overlapping with the Bad Batch.
Okay.
Um, and then the next thing for Marvel is Agatha Darkhold Diaries.
Ooh, okay. Okay.
So, um, yeah, it feels like Star Wars actually has more coming to Disney Plus this year than Marvel does. And
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we've seen it with Marvel reviews lately, like they've decided to slow down production um and kind of make sure that they're getting the right stuff out. Um so I'm really thinking, yeah, like it would be late July if anything, but definitely August. Probably same time period I would think as Ahsoka last year
Okay.
is what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
waiting. And then Skeleton Crew is still unknown, but still supposed to be 2024. Um,
I
so
have a question
that
for you in regards to Skeleton Crew, because I think it was Snell that brought up, like, man, why such a late window? He also uh mentioned that there was, like, some sketchy, I won't say sketchy things happening behind the scenes, but we had heard that, it wasn't a great production. So, what are the odds? Because I'm not going to make the assumption, because again, the amount of information we receive throughout the years just goes in one ear and out the other. For me, has this ever happened to any other Star Wars production that just, like, keeps getting pushed and keeps getting pushed? Like, because I feel like we could probably say, oh, maybe Ahsoka, but that was more of like an assumption on us. There wasn't really any, like, announcement, and then it got pushed and kept getting pushed and kept getting pushed, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, no, because I like you gotta think too. Star Wars TV shows production has only been going since 2019. So
Mhm,
this year is 5-year anniversary of Disney Plus. So you've got Mandalorian, Bad Batch, Ahsoka, and Andor. And
mhm.
those are the only live action shows that have
Obi-Wan.
come out. Obi-Wan, you're right. You could potentially say Obi-Wan because we got so many rumors about Obi-Wan, a Star Wars story, and
Oh,
then it
okay,
got
okay.
transitioned. That would be the only one I would really
So,
say.
here's my real question, because I was thinking about this today.
Is
Um,
it gonna get the Batgirl treatment, the Coyote
yeah,
treatment?
that's what I was gonna out has there ever been a production with Lucasfilm that has had the treatment with Batgirl and Coyote versus Acme, or has Disney done it? Like,
Batgirl is the first of its kind. Um, and Batgirl triggered all of the Disney Plus shows to come off. That was when people were like, "Oh, we can actually do this." So that's where the only Lucasfilm show that came off was Willow at that point
okay,
on Disney
okay.
Plus. So, but Willow actually aired
Mhm.
and stuff. So no,
You don't think
like,
so?
does it get it? I don't. I think Bob Iger is going to be really dumb, especially when you look at the lawsuits that are ramping up for Coyote versus Acme in particular, because Batgirl was not finished. Batgirl still had to go through post production.
Mhm,
Coyote versus Acme was already done. It was a fully finished film. And the same thing with the Scooby Doo movie that got cut.
mhm. Yeah.
It was fully finished. And so I think you're looking at that and you're going, okay, well, Skeleton Crew's already been through post production and it's just done, but it's like, is it what we want? I don't I think you have to either like it doesn't make sense with how little Star Wars you have out there and potentially with the tie-ins that they have built. Maybe that's why they did Mandalorian season 4 and turned it into a movie, which they say
That's what
season 4 is still coming.
that's
But
what I was thinking, yeah.
I don't I don't see why you waste. I think Jude Law is too big of a name to
And that
have
was
Star
something else
Wars.
that I was gonna bring up, because
You can't.
he is a big name, but as of late, is he a big name? Like, what was the last big thing he was a part of? I think Miss Marvel
Captain
was,
Marvel.
yeah, sorry, not Miss Marvel. Captain Marvel was the last thing he was a part of, I
I mean, you
think.
could also say Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them too, because that did get a sequel, no matter what Snell wants to say.
I know it did, but how much money did it make? Like, you go from $1 billion on Captain Marvel to Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them 2. I forgot what the title of that
I
one
am.
was, but see, that's how little people. I
I
know,
know
I
it. I
know,
just
I I know how bad of a movie that was, because it went from being in a normal theater to the very next weekend already being at a dollar theater back in Texas where I was living. Like, it was that bad.
I don't care what people say. I really enjoyed the Fantastic Beasts movies.
I liked the first
So
one,
uh,
like, I did, but
I really enjoyed the second one, and I still really enjoyed the third one. So I don't know. Um, but enough Harry Potter talk, y'all.
it's more of the reason why we're getting at it is, does Lucasfilm can Lucasfilm, not does, but can Lucasfilm look at Skeleton Crew with all the success of everything else and be like, "No, we could probably scrap this one."
I don't. We've never had to have this conversation really about Star
Mhm.
Wars. I
Yeah.
just, but it's the same thing that I had with. Warner Bros. Nobody is that stupid to go like, oh yeah, let's just. I'm getting to the point. Okay, don't give me that look. Like when it first came out, I was like, nobody is that stupid to do this, where they spent all this money and then waste it for tax write-offs. And then we have seen it left and right. I think with the way Disney's at, I just don't see the point in where you're already saying, okay, we're going to limit the throughput on Marvel. We're going to cut half of what we're doing for Marvel and
Mhm.
go, okay, like we're going to go back to the drawing board, make sure what we've got before shooting is good to go. That's what they've
Mhm.
said right now. Skeleton Crew is already done. Like, the worst thing that's going to happen is you throw it on the service and it's going to, like, flounder a little bit, like something Marvel has put out. And Willow is one thing, and now Star Wars fans don't hate me for this, but Willow didn't have the following that Star Wars has. So
Yeah.
you're going to have people turn out for this, just like you had people turn out for She Hulk, and just like you had people turn out for, like, I'm going to say Echo, because they, like, Echo's production, we heard Echo's production was a nightmare. Um, like, She Hulk Secret, was it Invasion or worse?
Invasion,
I
yeah.
can't. Yeah, like you still had people turning out for those shows because it's part of the process. Because hey, I want to know what happens.
Yeah,
And I
like,
think you're in the same boat with Skeleton Crew. I don't see the point in going, okay, we designed this, it is complete. Let's just toss it.
and it I'm not saying I didn't bring these questions up because I think they will happen, I'm just, of course, thinking about these things, and I also think just recently with the investors call and for the most part, Bob Iger being in the good graces now compared to how he was 6 months ago, 5 months ago, you know?
Less.
Uh, shit, has it been less? Oh yeah, because I guess the writers or the strikes altogether ended in October or November, right?
Like, yeah, November, December, and then he still had comments after the fact where it was like, dude, do you know what you're actually saying right
Yeah,
now?
like read the room type of stuff. Yeah, I mean, he's in good graces now comparatively, just because I think people have just kind of let time pass and whatnot. But I do think scrapping Skeleton Crew would be a really bad look on him right now. Like it
Yeah.
would kind of just throw all of that hard work, quote unquote, that he's done to make the people love him or whatever. Um, so yeah, that was a question that I had as far as the Skeleton Crew. It'll
Gotcha.
be interesting to see if we get any updates, if we get any trailers, any teasers, because I don't think we've gotten anything. Like, of course, publicly, everybody
You
else at
got,
Celebration
yes, that's what I was
got
about
to
to say.
see, yeah, but publicly to the general audience, to the world, nobody's gotten anything. So
But you also still
that's why
haven't
I'm
got,
saying. Oh,
but you
go
also
ahead.
still haven't gotten anything for Acolyte. Nothing publicly for Acolyte either.
But there's been more to say about Acolyte. Like we get more things said about Acolyte from the showrunners, from Lucasfilm, and everything else, comparatively to the ghost town, I guess pun intended, of Skeleton Crew.
Yeah. I really don't know, and I don't like saying like, "Oh yeah, I think this is totally gonna get scrapped," because I just think that's the really wrong way to look at it. I'm
I
gonna,
hope that it doesn't because again, like you said, it kind of was a domino effect for Batgirl. And so if we see it with Skeleton Crew, that means more shows at Lucasfilm have the possibility of being like, "Hey, we've done it with one show, we can do it to another." And I don't think that's cool.
yeah, especially considering Secret Invasion, if anything, should have been that show if it was going to be. Let's be real now, okay? Let's just be real. Sorry, I don't like saying that either, but that was a joke to kind of change the mood. I don't know. I'm sorry, brain. What are you doing? Um, Okay, so the last bit of Disney Plus related show news that we kind of have. So, on Valentine's Day, which is the day we are recording today, we got an announcement from the Fantastic Four Twitter account, which I missed, in the group chat until like 3 hours later, and was like, well, yeah, duh, Pedro Pascal confirmed. He looks like Reed Richards in the poster. And then everyone's like, Katie, what are you doing? Like, it was already announced. That's why he confirmed. I'm like, oh, um, so he was announced as Reed Richards. However, we have so he did a I guess a profile piece with SAG-AFTRA where he specifically changed the topic when asked about Reed Richards. So this was like pre-announcement. But there's a whole little segment on him not really being on set for the Mandalorian season 1 and how he set up the mannerisms for Din Djarin with the stunt double crew. But he also said in the interview that he has no intention of leaving the Mandalorian. And when asked if he's, quote, been fired from the role, he replies, no, God, I hope not. So I like this. This makes me feel a little more confident. Now, that doesn't mean that Disney, because Disney is the umbrella of Marvel and Lucasfilm, Disney can't go, oh yeah, we're gonna just like chop the Mandalorian and we're gonna end it so you can go off and do MCU things.
Oh, I think that's definitely what they've already done, and which is why we are getting Mandalorian season 4 as a movie. And of course, we have the movie coming up, like the Heir to the Empire, which I do believe
Yeah.
Mandalorian will be a part of that.
Yeah, which I think both of us have said like he's gonna be a part of Heir to the Empire, but that may be the point where it goes,
Yeah,
bye bye.
yeah. We've talked previously. If you guys want to hear about that, we have several different episodes that we've talked about how it is the possible end of the Mandalorian, not only the show but the character. So uh I think this is fun though, just because we've also talked in what's the right terminology? We've talked a lot. Let's just say we've talked a lot about how easy it is for Pedro to literally just run inside of a closet, record some voice work, and then boom, we have another season of Mandalorian. Um, Currently, I know that season 2 of Last of Us is in fact going to be starting up production and set to release next year in 2025, as well as there has been confirmation of a season 3, but no confirmation on the air date and production and all of that. So, like, he's ramping up to be a very, very busy person. So, on top of
And
how
he's got a
busy he
broken arm
already
right
is.
now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely insane. So I do think that keeping him just the way he is, the Mandalorian, with not taking the helmet off and everything else, works perfectly with the unfortunate hard and rock place that Pedro Pascal is in. But honestly, is it really a rock and a hard place when he's making millions of dollars? Like,
Yeah.
come on.
What do you think about so we talked about this last week with the release dates. What do you think about Mando and Grogu in May? Because wasn't it May 2025?
Mhm.
Or was it 2026?
Well, actually, no, it is 2026.
Okay, yeah, never mind. I lied. We're not going to talk about that. um, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. Especially as things progress in the filming time frame. So the next bit of news that we have to talk about. So Empire Magazine, these little bitches, and Star Wars. The Star Wars main Twitter account started randomly promoting like the picture of Padme in her wedding dress. It was
You got
totally random.
well, not you specifically. I think there was a lot of people that immediately started putting on their tinfoil hats, and they're like, "Oh, Star Wars is cooking something. We're gonna get something. It's gonna be awesome." Like, guys, I know every fandom is eager to always get something from their favorite fandom, but guys, y'all need to calm down. Like,
Look, okay, I did not go that far as like a Obi-Wan Kenobi season 2 announcement,
yeah,
which we saw some people. I was more like, okay, we could see like Acolyte. This could be our first promo for Acolyte,
yeah,
which I think was still a very realistic assumption.
I think so as well.
Um, and what we got instead is interviews for the 25th anniversary of The Phantom Menace.
With, I will say, really awesome promo images and covers for Empire magazine. The only problem with that is it's 2024. I don't have magazines in my house, and I have a 1-year-old in my house. So of course I'm not going to get a magazine.
Yep.
And if I'm going to read Empire magazine, it's going to be on the internet. So like I can just steal these images and hold them as a wallpaper, I guess. Like, yes, it's cool to look at, but like it's unfortunate. Like it's unfortunate and not unfortunate at the same time because I know that somebody out there had this job to create this image and all of that, and that's really good. They're really damn talented and whatever. But I'm just like, it's a catch 22. It's like, okay, yeah, it's Empire magazine, and it's also not anything new. But
Yeah.
the other new announcement that came along with this did come with a really badass poster, and
Yes.
like that is something that I want on my wall. Um, the 25th anniversary of the Phantom Menace is coming up in May, and they are going to re-release it in theaters. I am 100% going to see this. I did not get to see it when it re-released for the, was it
20th?
15 or 20? I can't remember.
Um, I don't know. I may
It
have been
was
in
either
college.
it was either the 15th anniversary or the 20th anniversary. I think it was the 15th anniversary, and they did it in 3D. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm cool with not watching a movie in 3D. I just don't like the glasses.
Yeah.
But I've seen every prequel movie in the theater. I remember seeing Phantom Menace in the theater. I remember seeing all the promos and commercials for it and everything. So seeing this in theaters again, I think will be very, very fun. Katie, you said, unfortunately, just due with the timing, you're gonna miss it. You also
Yes.
said what age you were when it first came out in theaters. Did you get to go see it in theaters or no?
No, so the way my Star Wars watching went was I saw A New Hope, Attack of the Clones, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and then I saw The Phantom Menace. And then um my mom and dad went to see Revenge of the Sith in theaters because I had become a Star Wars fan at that point, and that was when I had read my first Legends book and everything.
Ah, okay, okay.
And they saw Revenge of the Sith and said, "Oh, this is too adult for you." So instead, my mom bought the novelization and read us the novelization. But that is how I fell in
Lame.
love with the novelization. If you have not read the Revenge of the Sith novelization,
Everybody tells me, you, Joe, everybody's told me that it's a great book, and I do. I used my credit today because Katie also reminded me that Defy the Storm comes out next month. Um,
yes.
and for some reason, I was like, gasp! Why is it taking so long? But that's the actual release date, so I was like, oh. Um, but yeah, I will eventually get there for the novelization. I think it will be a fun little read, but it again, you were not that much younger than me at all.
So
Uh,
for those who are wondering, I was actually 3 years old when this came out because this came out May 16th or May 19th, 1999, and I was born in October. So I was actually 3 when this came out. So
wow,
and
that
I did we my family did probably did not start going to see like movies like legitimately until my younger brother turned 10, and that was 2010. So just to kind of
Yeah. Okay. I
this is growing up with three siblings, like
Okay,
family of
so here's
six.
here's a question. Just because hold on, I forgot the title of it now. Um, oh shoot, what is that movie called? Um, it's a movie about Phantom Menace.
We about Phantom Menace.
Yes. Um, there's oh crap, what is that movie? Fanboys. Have you seen Fanboys?
Fanboys. I'm gonna say no because I
Okay.
haven't.
So, here's the idea of the movie is that a whole bunch of nerdy 20 something year olds right out of high school, I think, like a couple years out of high school, they hear that one of their best friends has like cancer or whatever, and his big thing of like, hey, what's the one thing you would want to do before you die, basically, is I want to go to the Skywalker Ranch because I'll probably be dead before the Phantom Menace comes out, and we need to go watch the Phantom Menace. So they make a whole plan to go steal the first copy of the Phantom Menace from the Skywalker Ranch. And it's like a road trip movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely hilarious. I highly recommend it just because it's stupid and really, really funny. Like you can't take it super seriously because there's a lot of stereotypes with the fandom of Star Wars, and you might get hurt as a fan, but they are truly like it hurts because you know some of it is true. Like that's the big thing.
I don't know if I'll watch it, but because I just read the summary and I don't know if I'll watch it.
It's
But
again, it's stupid funny. Kristen Bell is in it. There's also I think Seth Rogen has an appearance in there. Uh I can't remember who else really, really big was in there, but it's a funny movie. It's a funny movie. If you ever have the chance to watch it, not necessarily go out of your way to rent it, but if for some reason somewhere you have the opportunity to watch it, I say watch
all right, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
it.
Um, so with this Empire magazine, we got several interviews with Samuel L. Jackson, Ian McDermott, um, obviously Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor, and Natalie Portman actually even did participated, though she did not get a photo shoot like Hayden Christensen and Ian McDermott. Um, they just used pictures from behind the scenes and the movies.
Mhm,
Um, I have not read all of the interviews. I just kind of have some highlights. Obviously, Empire Magazine is the place to go find these interviews if you're interested in getting perspectives. Oh, Liam Neeson also did one. Um,
mhm.
so I think that was everyone. Number one, Samuel L. Jackson actually doesn't think that Mace Windu is dead, and he would like a Disney Plus Star Wars show for Mace Windu. What do you think about this? Just real quick.
I I like the idea. I've seen some people do like animated, like almost Clone Wars type of animation, uh, like fan animated stuff with a not dead Mace Windu. A lot of people go a really dark route with it. Um, and I think it would be fun. I think it would be cool, but I don't know. I think that I would be okay with seeing a comic or a
Yeah.
novel. I don't know if we need to go out of our way to make a show about it. Um, just because, like, again, we're like just moving around inside the Skywalker saga. Like, we're just ramping up on the High Republic. Let's stay focused on that for a little bit, with the
Yeah.
Acolyte and hopefully future stuff that Lucasfilm wants to do. But I don't know. I like the idea. I do, but let's keep it small, not go too big.
Yeah. The other thing I forgot about Disney Plus, the rest of Young Jedi Adventure Season 1 is out today on
Oh, that's
Disney Plus.
right.
So I believe it's a 7 episode drop. So if you guys are interested in finishing that out, obviously we did our review. I have not had a chance to watch those episodes, but that is something that you can go check out on Disney Plus. All right, and then this is for Chris. So, Chris, if you have not listened to this, are not going to listen to this, then screw you, dude. But I didn't want to talk about this. I saw this and was like, I'm specifically not going to
I
mention
thought this
this.
was hilarious, but keep going, keep going.
um, Ian McDermott was specifically asked about if Palpatine fucks because of Rey Skywalker. um,
And his comment was like, "Oh, I don't believe he does, but maybe he does, or maybe he doesn't." Like it was very like a answer not answer thing because he's like, "Well, that's how children are made," but at the same time, maybe it's not because midi-chlorians. And he's like, "Don't ask me what that means. I just heard it, from fans and whatnot," which I also think is hilarious. But do I think Palpatine did the down and dirty? Um,
He did not do the down and dirty to end up where Rey Skywalker was at. Let's just be clear
that
now.
we
He
know
made
that for sure.
clones.
He made clones. Now, do the clones fuck? 100%. Like
Yes.
we know that to be factual.
Read Adam
But
Christopher's Shadows of the Sith.
but does that in fact mean, because it is a clone, which technically does still mean that it is in fact still Palpatine? Does Palpatine fuck?
In the
Yeah,
clone case, then yes, if that's Palpatine,
but
yes.
the soul Palpatine, like uh uh, uh what's the Palpatine
The
Prime?
OG.
Yeah, Palpatine Prime does not fuck, but clones do. That's our final answer for that one. But I did laugh a lot at that question.
Stop asking actors cringy questions about the characters. Read up on the source material first.
Oh, the side tangent. About the topic of stop asking questions to actors about cringy things. I just read a quote from Kristen Stewart about because they keep asking her about Robert Pattinson, and she's like, "Guys, that was years ago. Get over it. Like I'm tired of asking, or I'm tired of answering this question." She equated it to being like it's that person who just can't get over senior year of high school.
hmm
And I thought that was hilarious, but it's very true.
Yes.
Like, stop asking cringy questions. Like, it they could go without it, really.
hmm For sure. All right,
And
so the last
then,
bit of news we have is actually High Republic related. I was
yeah,
wondering when we were gonna get this cover. I was like, I had we Clay and I had been doing planning because I'm gonna be out May and June, most likely. Um, and I was like, oh, Temptation of the Force is actually June 11th. Holy crap, that's coming up quick. And so I was like, where is this cover? And today on Valentine's Day, again, I'm gonna repeat this several times with this. Um, we got the dang cover. And y'all, it is Miss Avar Chris staring at Elzar Man, and Elzar Man is staring back. Clay, what did you think about this cover?
I really like it. Again, we've had our questionable conversations on the amount of melanin that Elzar is
Mhm,
supposed to have.
mhm.
I feel like it's changed a lot recently. I don't like that. Um, but this it feels a little dirty. Temptation of the Force, like with them, like just the way like the cover design for this. Okay, temptation
By
is in like
Grant Gustin.
really big letters. Like temptation, you know what it means. Like everybody knew when they decided to make this cover, they're like, "Oh, we know, and they will know," and that's the best part of it. Will
I'm
this?
sorry, the
Do you?
cover is by Grant Griffin, by the way. I said Grant Gustin. I was thinking of The Flash. So I'm sorry.
um.
Grant Griffin designed this
Okay,
cover.
so I have not read is the actual
The
oh
actual summary is on here.
okay, I haven't read it yet. Go ahead. Are you
Okay,
gonna read it
well
now?
then, yes, I'm gonna read it now because now we
Okay,
have to
okay, okay,
discover
okay.
this. Oh, the other thing I was gonna say, you see this eye right here? Like this is supposed to be the skyline, like the stars above them, I guess, but this is totally an eye right here.
Now, okay, I could see that, or is that like something to do with the storm wall?
Maybe, but it's totally designed purposefully to look like an eye, right there. It's totally like
Probably, like
this is because
most likely,
uh,
yes, because again, their relationship and whatnot is forbidden within the order, and then it's
yes,
like somebody is watching them.
and
Totally
that's what it feels
understand it.
like.
Yeah,
Is like somebody is watching them to see how they do with this temptation. This also looks like a new diadem, by the way, for Avar, because we know she had gotten rid of all her Jedi clothes,
correct.
and
Yeah.
that looks like a new diadem, and she's got her hair pulled back. Um, but otherwise, very standard Jedi clothing. Elzar still has his beard, and he's dressed in more of like the professional Jedi robes, I would say, whereas Avar's
Mhm.
more decked out in mission gear. So, um, okay, so the summary all the way down here. I'm gonna stop sharing so it doesn't look super weird. Okay. So it says the reunited Jedi prepare to strike back against the ruthless Nihil in this thrilling sequel to Star Wars The High Republic, The Eye of Darkness. For over a year, Jedi Masters Avar Kriss and Elzar Mann were kept apart by the Nihil's Stormwall. After Avar makes a daring escape from inside the occlusion zone, the star-crossed Jedi are reunited. But while the physical distance between them has evaporated, their shared grief over their failure to protect the galaxy from the Nihil threat still remains. To rally the Jedi Order in the Republic, Avar and Elzar cling to their belief in serving light and life. Working together, they lead a daring mission into Nihil space to liberate the planet of Naboo. We're going to Naboo, y'all. Like, outside of the Skywalker saga. Like, let's go, bitches. Um, to liberate the planet of Naboo and show those trapped behind the storm wall that the Jedi will never abandon them. Now, back within the close orbit of one another, the two Jedi Masters can no longer deny the bond that has always drawn them back together and made them stronger. After finally embracing their true desires and imbued with renewed purpose, Avar and Elzar devise a plan to turn the tide of the conflict with the Nihil once and for all. Accompanied by Jedi Knights Bel Zettifar, Bur Yaga, and Vernestra Rowe, the Jedi begin their hunt for Marchion Ro. But to seek out the Nihil's dangerous leader, the Jedi will have to survive the nameless terrors that they have thus been that they have thus far been powerless to stop.
Well, the fact, okay, star-crossed a little on the nose, but the fact that it said after finally embracing their true desires. Now, this is no longer a spoiler. The book has been out in oh shoot, what was the first book that was in this
Eye
wave?
of Darkness.
Eye of Darkness. We saw that Avar had her own emotions when listening
Mhm.
to Elzar's message. Clearly there's something there. Now, do they do the dirty?
I think this is obvious that they do the dirty.
I, but see, here's the thing. In uh uh Princess and the Scoundrel, they never technically did throughout the entire book. There was just like, some heat in the atmosphere. Do you think they're gonna lay it on thick like Princess and the Scoundrel? Or is it gonna be like subtle? Like
Well,
how do
we
you
already
think it's
got
going to?
confirmation in the Rising Storm that Elzar fucks.
Yes. Yes.
So I think they're gonna allow them to like go that level. Like we're not gonna get like a porno scene, obviously.
Obviously.
Now we may get some fan fiction to fill in the gap, but
100%. I
um,
I I could already tell you, well, I can't already tell you because I haven't seen it, but I can make the assumption that there is already fan fiction out there
oh yeah,
for them to. Um, but this is going to be awesome. Um, just because
I
again, like
fully expect one of them is gonna die as the consequence for the temptation, for falling for the temptation.
this early?
Mhm. This is the penultimate book for the adult saga.
No way.
Yeah,
I
this is
thought
book two. There's only three waves. There's only three waves, and this is book
oh
two.
no. I
And the
thought the
last one,
penultimate hit comes out next year.
mm-mm. The last one is called Trials of the Jedi.
And that's in 2026, right? It skips a year.
That's 2025.
Is it 2025?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh no. See, we thought when we first covered the release timeline of this, we were like, it's so far away. It's so far away. It's not gonna get here in time. Like it doesn't feel like it's gonna get here. Holy crap, it's crept up on us so quickly. Katie, I'm not ready for either one of them to die. Like I feel like again, I need to reread and catch up on the main comic. Um, but I feel like haven't really spent a whole lot of time with Avar.
I
Like
know.
I want more time with her. Elzar, I've had my time and I want more and I don't want him. Like this is not fair. Like don't don't do this to me, Katie. Don't put
I
this
fully
bad
expect it.
juju into the air. Don't do it.
It especially okay. So Grattan says I couldn't be more thrilled for readers to get their hands on Temptation of the Force. It's my last book for Phase 3, which means it's my final chance to put my mark on the main storytelling. Um, and
Oh,
then she's this is another paragraph, but I'm reading the whole paragraph. Readers first met Marchion's ancestors Marta and Yana Rowe in Path of Deceit, which Grattan co-authored with Justina Ireland, and will discover even more links to previous storytelling in this novel. All of my favorite parts
oh.
of writing for the High Republic are in here, Grattan says. Discussions about the nature of the Force and the role of the Jedi in the galaxy. Forbidden Jedi romance, banter, and daring lightsaber duels. The generations old Graf Santeca feud. Messy Elzar, Evereni lore, and hints about the history of the Rowe family and the mysteries of the Nameless. Things that were seeded in Phase 2 get to blossom.
I okay. There's a lot that we've been wanting answers for.
Yep.
I think a lot the Roe ancestry and stuff. We've kind of can make the assumptions and not so much assumptions anymore because things have been laid out for us. But we would like to just know more about it for sure. Um I can't say much because we already have a book that is not released yet. But some other things that are mentioned in this title we are reading about currently. Like to see how that is expanded in this book as well. Yeah, I guys, we always gush over the High Republic stuff, so it's just something that is it's like peanut butter and jelly. Like it's some people will say, "Why does it exist?" I'm like, "Why does it like like It's not a matter of why, it's a matter of just like it's there. Just deal with it. It's guys, I eat Uncrustables for lunch every day. It's just what I do. It's amazing. Um, but yeah, so excited about this. 2025, I'm gonna say God, that feels so far. Like it feels so far, but then it's gonna come up, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, damn it. Now, again, you have made this prediction. You're gonna be sitting with your newborn child, and if you have made this prediction correct, you're going to get a massive text from me. I swear. Don't do it, Katie. Don't put this into fruition. And I'm sorry if anybody's hearing Amberlynn right now. She's screaming bloody murder.
Well, so here's the last quote from Grat. She says, "It was a delight and honor to take the characters my fellow authors have created and push them to new highs and new lows. And to realize I have a lot of opinions about Wookiees, actually. If you want to know what for light life means to me, you'll find it threaded throughout the politics and action in the motivations of our heroes and villains and in every declaration of love."
Tessa, you leave Burry alone. We've already had this massive scare of like whether he is dead or not. If he survived just to die, this is my villain origin story. Like if Ava or Elzar, like if one of them die, I'm sad, I'm mad, whatever. But if Burry dies, the whole High Republic
Uh,
dies. Like that's what it should be.
I'm gonna have to read this book in 24 hours again, just so I can be prepared and just kind of get it out and be like, yes.
Oh my gosh. It's this is going to be heartbreaking. I can already tell. And it's gonna be glossed over because people are gonna be like, oh, the sexiness, the spiciness, yes. And I'm gonna be like, the dread, the death. Why? Oh no. Oh man.
um, yeah. So that is it, guys. For so Skywalker Thrawn tweeted to Tom because Tom was the one who I think tweeted this first.
Mhm.
And they said, "Was this reveal purposely timed for Valentine's Day?" And Tom said, "There are no mistakes."
Very nice.
Um, and I think Tom actually does confirm that it's a different diadem because Laura Kelly, who is a podcast host for Force Toast podcast, who just celebrated their 5-year anniversary, by the way. Congratulations, guys. Said, "Oh, she got her diadem back." And Tom said she did get a diadem back, indeed.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah. So lots of stuff that you could delve into in the replies sometimes. I always forget about those.
And also,
Uh,
Tom
yes.
does say that the audiobook will release same day for this book.
Ooh,
So
I'm
that's
gonna be listening to it in the night with Mara.
oh,
So
I think this will possibly be like a hey, I'm gonna be staying up late a couple days to listen and read this book for sure.
yeah. All right, y'all. So it is time to get into the Bad Batch season 3 predictions. Are you ready?
I am ready, and I know that we didn't really prepare predictions per se, but
Yes.
there are questions that I want to ask you that pertain to somewhat predictions that will happen within season 3. So the first one actually has to deal with something that you posted in the Star Wars Alliance chat. Somebody
Okay.
by the name of Sabine X 7 Days. Um, their handle is Hunter Bad Batch. It says, notice how in the Star Wars summary, the Bad Batch summary, they said tech fell from a train car or tran car and not Tech died. Tech is still alive in this essay. I will, and then it cuts off being funny. So my question to you: will we see Tech in the present time of after his quote unquote accident? Like, do we see that he actually lived? Because if we see Tech and it be a flashback, I think that's null and void. Like, that's in the past.
Yeah.
Do we see him alive by the end, or do we find out he survived, and does he stay survived, or does he die and he stay dead? What do you think?
So I think he's gonna end up survived and he'll stay alive. Um Sorry, too much jerky. um so in the trailer, I don't remember the shot specifically. But in the trailer, a couple people on Twitter were like, this looks like Tech's helmet for one of what looks like the Imperial stormtroopers.
Mhm.
So he could have been grabbed, and then because we know that Mount Tantus, they're trying to get Crosshair over to their side to kind of see how his mutations came to life.
Mhm.
So building Tech up and making him a part of the Empire would help their cause in trying to figure out like, okay, how do we get these modifications to like happen? Because the whole goal, remember, with what's happening with the cloning facility on Mount Tantus is Emperor Palpatine is trying to get a clone that can use the Force.
Mhm.
So that's kind of, or at least that's the assumption that's being played into right now.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think we see him alive, especially after this summary, which they posted, um, as like a, it you need to catch up on the Bad Batch. Here's all the intel you need before the final season premieres, February 21st on Disney Plus. We do not know if it's going to be Tuesday night or if it's going to be Wednesday night, by the way, or Wednesday morning. Unaware. February 21st is Wednesday, though. So.
But the other Disney Plus shows, as of late, since Loki, I think maybe even before that, was Loki or Ahsoka first? I think it was Loki. It was Loki and then Ahsoka.
Mm-mm.
Uh,
Mhm,
no, backwards. It was Ahsoka and then Loki. Okay,
mhm.
and but Ahsoka was morning. It wasn't night, right?
No, it was night. It was night.
It was. Oh yeah, because it was. Yeah. Okay. So starting with Ahsoka, I'm pretty sure. Final answer. Starting with Ahsoka last year, they started doing the night before. So I think it is a safe assumption that this show will be on a Tuesday night.
But the only other animation that we've had since then has been What If, and What If had a special release schedule where it was in the mornings,
It was in the
but it was every day.
mornings, but it was every single day because they wanted to get it out before the new year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could have gone night at that point, though, I feel like, and still accomplished the same goal. So it'll be interesting to see. Well, we'll find out for sure. I'm gonna be. I'm hoping it's a night. I don't want to wake up super early. Please, Star Wars, help us
Do
out
you
here.
I was gonna say, do you think we get a confirmation like by Friday?
I don't think we'll get a confirmation because I mean Percy Jackson. They said Percy Jackson was gonna be Tuesday nights
Hmm.
on premiere. Like when they announced the release date, they said it's gonna be Tuesday nights. So it'll either be Tuesday nights and it'll be a surprise, or it'll be Wednesday mornings. So
So Tuesday night, I'm just gonna have to refresh Disney Plus. Like, God damn it.
at 9
Um,
p.m. Eastern, remember. So
yeah.
um so yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But with this summary, I going back to Tech, I'm fairly certain, like, okay, Tech's alive. Like, it's just gonna be a matter of like, what if? How does this work?
Yeah, I think that's gonna be the biggest story there for because I mean, listen, I've thought about this question a lot because it's a simple question, but what does it do to my feelings towards the story of a sacrifice? You've read more novels than I think I will ever read in my lifetime. There are plenty of movies and TV shows and animated movies and TV shows where a character's sacrifice is important not only to the situation that the characters are in, but the plot and development of that plot and characters for the rest of the franchise and whatnot. So, the sacrifice of Tech, in my eyes, was important, very much so, to get the rest of the Bad Batch to safety. It
Mhm.
was situational sacrifice for that moment. It's more of the thought of like, hey, we have to get through this mission to eventually get to the mission of being able to save Crosshair, right? And move forward with that. So, is him coming back to life, is it bad storytelling or good storytelling?
It all depends on how they handle it. Again, going back to like the whole Asajj Ventress thing, and I know we talked about that at length uh, several times, basically.
Mhm,
Um, because to me, that's the same boat. Asajj died to save Quinlan Voss and bring him back from the dark.
mhm.
Um, so it all depends. And I can like going back to like when Asajj was first seen in the trailer, everyone was like, is death does death mean anything anymore to Star Wars? I think there's a good reason to keep Tech alive for the Empire. So to me, I can see it, but it just all depends on how the story's told.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It's gonna be very, very interesting. Um, again, it's the idea, like, I always wanna go back to the Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett, and what they did with Grogu and Mandalorian season 2 and all that. But this is on a lower scale. I think that, Bad Batch has a much smaller fandom for sure. But we'll see. Now on to my
yeah,
second question. We know because we saw him in the trailer, Emperor Palpatine is going to be in this season. In the past, we have seen a lot of Jedi. Well, I say a lot, but we've seen Jedi in the past. We know that we've gotten oh no, I forgot his name. Uh 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 Wookie from Clone
Gungi,
Wars. Yes. Yes. We've seen him. And then of course in the
can't
debut, we saw
Kanan.
Kanan. Do we see Darth Vader?
I don't see why you would see Darth Vader because while Anakin knew where Exegol was, according to Shadow of the Sith, granted, I don't think by this point he would be that involved because isn't isn't this time period supposed to be when Charles Soule's Darth Vader run is happening?
I would believe so. Yes.
Be-
Um well actually, now that you bring it up, that is a good question. Cuz Charles Souls goes from
1 second after the end of Revenge of the Sith.
mhm
Um, where does it? Come
and then
on.
and then his last was
So
on
it was only a 25 issue run, and
it
this
was
takes place. So the last issue, 25, takes place in 12 BBY,
okay. And then we know that the Bad Batch has been taking place.
just over 19 BBY.
Yeah.
So, which that's issue 6. That is 19 BBY. Um, issue 12 is 19 BBY. Um, Burning Seas, where's that one end? Burning Seas is 18 BBY.
Okay.
So that would be, and I have not read, I read some of Charles Soule's run. I need to like go back and finish it. Um,
It is
but
great.
I know
Absolutely amazing.
I've heard really good things. But so issues 1 through 17 could be when Bad Batch is taking
Hmm.
place. So
Yeah.
you would, and not that like obviously the comic takes place for a year and a half, and we get to see every second of those year and a half. But it would be cool to see any connections potentially there.
And
I just don't think that early in Darth Vader's career you see Palpatine letting him in on those secrets.
well, yeah, I was thinking more so, we saw in Clone Wars very rarely Palpatine did get his hands dirty. So we could see him definitely do some things there. Um in um oh shoot, not Shadows of the Sith. It was uh the Darth Vader and Palpatine book that we read.
Dark Lords of the Sith.
Dark Lords of the Sith, yeah. We very much saw Palpatine get his hands dirty. Uh,
Right, but
and
that doesn't include Vader necessarily, not Megs. Like we might see Palpatine bring out his lightsaber to threaten the
well,
main Doctor,
but
but
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like he is, of course, a voice of authority because he is the Emperor. But we know because of Dark Lords of the Sith that he does not like to show his true strength because he wants to keep this bravado of like, oh, I'm a weak old man, but I have authority, blah blah, and I have Darth Vader here to do all my manhandling. Um, so that's why it was more of like, hey, are the Bad Batch going to be such a nuisance that Palpatine does have to bring out Vader?
I don't think so. I think he's mainly going to be used in like, hey, prepare yourself for like dark side things. And now I'm not gonna say I'm gonna complain if Darth Vader's in it, unless it's
Mhm.
just done like, really, we brought Darth Vader in here for what
It's going
purpose?
to be the exact scene from Rogue One, but just with the Bad Batch characters. That's all it's going to be.
Yeah, if it's that, I'm gonna be like, what the fuck, dude? Um, because he doesn't even have I wouldn't even say he has his because Fortress Vader is 12 BBY, so he wouldn't even have his Fortress of Solitude, whatever,
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah,
Mustafar, that's the planet. He wouldn't even have a place on Mustafar, so he's mainly based on Coruscant at that point.
yeah.
Yeah. Again, I'm very much a like, okay, it all depends on how the story's gonna go.
But it's
if it's told well,
see my thoughts, my thought process and all of this is we know that this has been confirmed last season of Bad Batch. Is this the season to throw out all the stops and like, hey, here's Jedi, hey, here's Sith, hey, here's old friend from episode 3 of season 1. Like, do you throw all of this for season 3 or do you solely make this a hey, we've drawn out the story enough. We don't need any of those big surprises. We just need to finish the story.
According to the reviews that we saw drop Monday, so the only one I managed to save is Maggie Lovitz, who is Maggie of the Town on Twitter. She's a great editor. She works for Collider. She has gotten to see the first 8 episodes of The Bad Batch. And she said it's truly a case of they saved the best for last. Season 3 is the best yet for the series and a much darker turn. Lots of twists, lots of heart, fun returns, and some huge Star Wars lore connections.
I've seen that one a lot too, that there's a lot of lore in there. I've seen some people say that, like, yes, this is a darker season, but there's very much like the George Lucas isms here. So of course, I still think there is going to be some lightheartedness in here. Um, but yeah, I've again, we've just seen nothing but good things here.
Yeah,
Um, but that leads me to my last question. Something that you've kind of already set out there as something that you believe will happen, but we're going to go ahead and say it here for the podcast. You mentioned the possibility of a whether it be a cameo or a full appearance story wise, Grogu. Do you think we
yeah.
see like a hard yes, like he is in fact going to be, or is it still like it's a maybe type of thing? What do you think?
I think it needs to happen just to kind of continue to build those connections. I mean, we basically saw the same cloning facility already in what was it, season one, between one and the Mandalorian and one in season one. So the connections have been made. I think Grogu needs to happen. Where we just see, and again, I don't think it needs to be much. I just think you need to see maybe they're bringing in the newest prisoner or whatever, and um like they just you see Grogu in this little cage kind of thing or in his bassinet thingamajigger. um Even like a post credit almost where you just kind of say like Palpatine is like, oh yeah, we got this, like bringing
Palpatine
him
will
in.
return. Sorry.
um So yeah, I think he's got to happen to just build the lore connections.
I I can definitely see it happen. I can also see there being basically a hint at the fact that they have him in possession, but not actually showing him. Um, which I will also be like, why? Like, it's not like you have to bring the puppet to the show. It's a cartoon. Just animate him.
Yeah.
He's fine. Um, but I could see that being a thing. Just so that way it's a little bit more tongue in cheek. People have to really be paying attention, things like that. Um, but I do kind of hope there is a interaction with Grogu. Not a huge one, but on a small scale, just for us fans to be like, "Holy crap, it's Grogu!" And then, boom, you know, he's
What if
gone.
you saw a full blown experiment taking place on him with Nala say?
Oh, I don't know if my heart could deal with that.
I don't know if my heart could deal with it either. I was just like, what if this happened? Um,
Because at this time,
yeah.
he is he still?
So
Because
he's 50 at the so I believe
start,
he's 50 at the time of the Mandalorian.
yeah, at the start of Mandalorian, so he would be like 30. No, sorry,
19 years for the gap
yeah.
plus plus 11. So that makes 30. So he would be 20 at this point. He would be very young.
Wow.
What
I
if we go to Naboo and we see him captured? Because we know that Keller and Beck took off in a Naboo ship
mhm.
with Grogu. That was the last time we saw Grogu in the prequel trilogy era. So
I could see.
What if
Ooh,
that's one of the
what?
episodes where the Bad Batch is being sent by Rex, and they're like, "You've got to help these guys escape and get off the
Well,
planet."
here's the thing. What if that's the small interaction between Omega and Grogu? Is uh because here's something that here's a prediction that I had. Um I think that because of the hype, the reviews of it still being lighthearted, um I don't think Omega is going to be captured for uh more than half the show.
Oh, I don't know about that because I feel like this season's going to take place over a long period because of what we saw in the trailers. Is like I saw somebody put it together where like showing her at the beginning, at the end of season 2, and then like what looks like a much older picture of her, and they're like, how long has she been there? Did she like give up on the fact that
Well,
they were going to
I
come for
mean,
her?
I could see time-wise it being a long time, but episode to episode, before the mid-season, Omega will be with the Bad Batch.
I don't think so. I think it's going to take the full time to get her.
Really?
Yeah.
Oof.
Oh,
Because my thing was, I was gonna say, if that's the case, if Omega does get back with everybody else, they have the interaction with Grogu, but because the scientists are trying to get Omega back, they then find Grogu.
yeah, I don't know about that. I could see. Here's where I could see half the season taking place. The half season mark. Um, is they're able to get Crosshair or Omega at the halfway mark, but not the other, and so they go back for the other.
See, I also thought about that, and how heart-wrenching would it be if they were only able to get Crosshair first?
That's honestly what I'm thinking is what's gonna happen, because the other thing that you can play into it is that Crosshair gives up and he says, "Okay, I'm gonna help." And he goes off on a mission, and the Bad Batch is able to grab him from the mission. So then you don't even have the Bad Batch go to Mount Tantus. Because if they go to Mount Tantus once, it's gonna be like, okay, then we have to move it away from Mount Tantus. But I think Mount Tantus, they want to build the lore connections here
Mhm.
and continue to build that up. So they're not gonna Bad Batch is not gonna get to Mount Tantus until the very end, I would think.
Oof. That's scary to think about.
Yeah, but I think it's just the smart thing for Lucasfilm to do to continue to build that up because Mount Tantus is just such a powerful icon in Star
Mhm.
Wars storytelling.
Yeah.
So I think that makes the most sense, um, in that regard.
Yeah. Very true.
So here's a question for you: how long do you think Asajj Ventress is going to play in? Do you think it's going to be an episode? Do you think we're gonna 3 or 4 episodes?
I think because we have a total of 15 episodes, I think I think her episode is after, or is it after or before the mid-season? I can't remember. If we go back, let me actually see, because it wasn't very far from where we were looking at things. Um, it is. Wait, is that the list? No, that is the list of movies. Um,
It's on the review schedule, or it's on the podcast schedule. I got the schedule on there.
oh, the name of the episodes too.
Oh, no, I don't. You're right.
Okay,
I
so
forgot they released the name of the episodes.
yeah, so um, ooh, see now the last episode has me thinking it's going to be more than what I initially thought. Um, so there is an episode called The Return. A lot of people think it's Tech. I think it could be Asajj. That's mine. But I also think that it could be episodes 6 and 7, infiltration and extraction. I think they could use the help of a known bounty hunter, that being Asajj, to help them. Uh, so I think it's going to be. I first initially thought it was only going to be 2 episodes, but the very last episode is called "The Cavalry Has Arrived," and if this is the true infiltration and the like, hey, we're going to go save Omega no matter what. We have to call in the cavalry. I think this is where we see all of the cameos of everybody that has helped the Bad Batch in every previous season,
Yeah.
including this one. So Asajj could also end up there.
You could also potentially say that she could make an appearance in Paths Unknown. And I'm just kind of thinking because of the path.
Hmm.
That's where I'm putting that together. So that's
Yeah.
episode 2. But you could also see it happen in episode 10, which is Identity Crisis.
Oh, I like
I
that.
think, yeah. And I think the Harbinger could also play into that because she's the assassin. She's the Harbinger of death. Like,
Hmm.
could play into that a ton. Um, so we know Fennec Shand is going to be in one episode. Um, Ming Na Wen confirmed it was one episode, but she's in charge of a group of male bounty hunters. She's
Hmm.
in charge of that one. Um, Infiltration and Extraction. Those 2 episodes premiere back to back. Those are the same day, so it's
Yep.
what was the schedule? It was 6 and 7, and then it was 10 and 11, or was it 9 and 10? I think.
9 and 10 is what you put as the
Okay.
Harbinger Identity Crisis. Yeah.
Okay. So I think it could be either. I think you're right though on those marks with 6 and 7. I think it's gonna play into just a big lore building moment there
Hmm.
to where they want the 2 episodes. So I'm thinking either one of those. Um, two like episode drops.
Okay.
Um, Anything else that this episode title list sparks? We know that
Um.
we're going to be playing back and forth between Mount Tantus and the Bad Batch, the three
Hmm.
guys. So like confined, I think we spend most of the time on Mount Tantus, just trying to learn some things.
Hmm.
And then kind of things kind of progress from there. Um and all the reviews did say because the first 3 episodes dropped together, and they said that dropping the first 3 episodes together makes the most sense, and kind of everything kind of builds on those. So
Have we gotten a confirmation on how long these episodes will be?
no, I wouldn't imagine they're more than 30 minutes though.
Hmm. I think I would have liked if they were like, because it's the last season, first episode will be an hour, the last episode will be an hour.
Yeah, I think they tried that with the first episode for the Bad Batch, and I don't think it succeeded. Um
Was it
it
really an
just
hour?
it was 75 minutes, so it was a full movie. It was full TV movie length.
Oh wow. Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So I don't think they quite succeeded there. I can see them maybe stretching it a little bit longer if they need to.
Hmm.
Um, I would just prefer you stick to the 30 minutes. I think it makes the most sense to just be consistent. But that's also why, to me, I think they're dropping the first 3 episodes together. So,
So okay, didn't even think this could be a possibility, but I'm just reading some things that some people have been talking about season 3 for. And somebody says, I absolutely don't want to see Vader or Ahsoka in the Bad Batch season 3. Do you think Ahsoka could be a possibility?
not at this point.
Because
I
at
don't,
this point, she would still be in, like,
in hiding.
yeah. I think
And
this would
she's
take
not,
place during the time of Tales of the Jedi.
yeah, or close to it.
Yeah.
Because we don't know when that last story takes place. When does the Ahsoka book take place? Because that still is a I should put book after it because everything now is going to be talking about the TV series. Um, so the Ahsoka book takes place in 18 BBY. So she could make an appearance in the ending episode, depending on
Mm.
how long the time stretches. Because again, if we go to the Mandalorian is like everything takes place in 11 BBY, which
Actually,
is
I don't think she
or
will make an
ABY.
appearance.
You don't think?
No,
I wouldn't want her in
because
this.
I don't think I don't think it would make much sense because one of the Bad Batch's contacts is Rex.
Yeah.
And the whole point of Rebels is that they've kind of been in contact, but not really, because she's the one that tells Kanan and Sabine and all of them to go to this planet to go seek out this person.
Yeah.
So like it would be a stretch for Ahsoka
I
to be here.
I think it would be a stretch too. Now, granted, Rebels takes place your season 2 probably takes place like still like 2 BBY, I would think.
Hmm.
Um so I mean it wouldn't be a stretch to be like, "Oh yeah, we haven't been in contact for a long time." And if this takes place in 18 BBY, I think that makes sense. However, I don't think you would have that happen because Darth Vader thinks Ahsoka is dead. And I'm telling you, if Palpatine says, "Oh, we saw a Togruta Jedi with this rescue attempt," I'm thinking Palpatine's going to be sending Darth Vader to hunt down Ahsoka.
Yeah.
I just don't think that makes sense. Now, could I see Dave Filoni going, "You need to shoehorn Ahsoka into here somewhere"? Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Um, I just don't think it makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think it'll people who are worried about Ahsoka showing up, I don't think it should be as big of a worry as people think.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. You can maybe see Gunji come back. Um, I I don't think you see Kanan. Kanan doesn't make sense because you only have him in the first episode, and he really didn't
Mhm.
build that connection. Um,
I don't think you see Syndulla either. They uh and I say
oh yeah.
Syndulla as not Hera but her father.
Okay.
Because they only had a very brief interaction um with their mission. So I don't think it would be so much to like, hey, let's go take on this whole army at this planet, type of I don't think they can request that from Syndulla. So I'm trying to think of anybody else from seasons 1 and 2 that would be like a really big like, oh wow, they came back for the final season. Um oh, your favorite character. What's her name? Uh
Oh,
um
Sid. I don't want to see Sid. If Sid comes in, I want to
I
throw
think
the remote at the TV.
Sid makes an appearance.
I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen at all.
I really thought Sid would be like Dunzo after what they did, but like unfortunately with her connections, I could see Sid coming back.
I don't want it to happen. Um, she's just so annoying. She's always been so annoying, and I was so happy to see that character get downgraded for their appearances in the Bad Batch season 2.
Mhm.
I'm like, let's just be done with them, please and thank you.
Yeah.
We do get Wanda Sykes. I'm excited to see Wanda Sykes. So
Yes. I mean, we saw her very first thing in the trailer, so
yeah,
um we can expect to see her. I think not as far not a like reoccurring, but I can see 3 episodes at the very
Yeah.
least.
Yeah. I think that's about it though.
I think that's it. I think we covered a lot and a lot of predictions slash expectations. I think it'll be a very fun season. And a lot to cover next week. That's a full 3 episodes, like you said, all 3 of them drop at once.
Yeah.
So, hopefully there's not too much news that come out because we'll be talking a lot. But, of
Yeah.
course, you can find me at Fanboy Clay on Twitter and any and all social media. I am gonna be streaming this weekend, so, check me out over on twitch.tv/fanboyclayton. That's fanboyclay10. Gonna be playing some Final Fantasy and Marvel Snap. I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. So come hang out there. Um, I only have Ranger Alliance after this now. Batman News Weekly is officially dead. We made the very hard decision to kind of let that go. It was a fun project for 5 years, but and surprisingly, we were consistent every single week for 5 years, which is absolutely amazing. But you can still listen to all the episodes over on YouTube. Go check that out. But yeah, you will just see me here at Star Wars Alliance and Ranger Alliance. So yeah, Katie, what about you?
Y'all, so you can find me on most social media platforms as at Slice of Katie. The show you can find on Twitter. It is at Star Wars Lines of the A, and the war is very important. Don't forget it. Remember, you can email us starwarsalliance@gmail.com. Again, no A in the wars. You can also text or leave us a voicemail 830-538-4828. Um, and guys, once again, I'm just another reminder, please don't forget about the survey. We would love to hear from you guys. Um, tell you what, I have some additional books. So if you guys do a survey, Snell will kind of give us the Snell is gonna tell us like if he gets responses and everything. So if you guys just put your name in the survey for us, because I forget if you put a name or whatever. But put your name and that you listen to Star Wars Alliance and give us some good, honest feedback. I've got a section of books, and you can take your pick for 2 of them. We'll draw next week to celebrate the Bad Batch, but also celebrate that survey ending, y'all. So good incentives for the survey. I also cleaning out my office because testing mode has started. So it's good timing. So you might see more giveaways over the Bad Batch. Who knows? Um, so yes. So yeah, do that. We'll draw next week for 2 books from that pile. So with that, y'all, I want to wish everyone a great day or night, whatever time of day you are listening or watching, and we will see y'all next time. May the force be with you.